Hey everyone, welcome back. How's everybody's quarantine going? Does it suck? Because mine does. Today, we're gonna be doing something a little fun, a little follow along tutorial, sort of, kind of. Basically, we're gonna be doing a paint and sip, but I won't be doing any sipping. I'm gonna be your teacher for the day. So let's head on over to our easels, get started. All right, change of scenery, also change of shirt because this is my paint shirt. So today we're gonna be doing a nice little sunset scene on the beach. You probably already seen the final product when you click this video, but so what I first recommend is that you lay out all the colors that you have right now because it's easiest to mix colors when you see them all in front of you. Like, you never know, you might need that blue just to make your yellow shade a little bit darker. You never know. So it's always good to have all your colors out. So here's mine right now. I'm working with oils today, but if you're working with acrylic, if you are going to spread out all your paints, make sure you mix them with a retardant of some sort, because if you leave them out too long, they will dry and then it's a waste. Oils, I can leave this out for a week and it's gonna be fine. If you want to know what colors I have out titanium white, ivory black, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, dioxide purple, ultramarine violet, oh no, I don't remember this pink. It's pink. Raw sienna and burnt umber. So to start, I took some painting medium that I have right here and some linseed oil and mixed it with my titanium white to make a base. We're gonna cover this whole thing in white. If you're working with acrylic, you probably don't need to do this, but for the oils, it's easier to mix with just a nice little base on it. So if you're working in acrylic, you can skip this unless you want to mix the white with a retardant on the whole thing. It's up to you, your preference. Wow, what a change, right? Isn't she beautiful? I think we're gonna start with mixing a violet, a little bit of blue. Grab your palette knife if you have one. You really shouldn't mix colors with your brushes. I used to do it all the time. Guess how many of those brushes I have left? 0, because I ruined them all. So if you have a palette knife, way better to mix your colors. Way more fun too. You get a nice little sound. Oh. So I think I'm gonna take ultramarine blue, a little bit of violet, a little more violet. Take some of this violet too. We're gonna mix that. Ooh, look how nice. You see those colors? How pretty they are together. I'm also gonna take a little bit of violet, a little bit of white. Okay, so you should almost have like a lavender looking colors, a little bit more on the blue side. And we're gonna put it right up here, right on the top, because we don't waste paint. I'm using it off my palette knife. You see, you wouldn't be able to do that with a brush. Just gonna. For better payoff, it's really good to make your strokes an X. Or like sideways, don't just go up and down. It doesn't look right. You'll see every single stroke. See how the white underneath helps a lot with blending? Because if this is just a bare canvas, it would be like dragging across, which not bad. I usually do it like that when I make my paintings, but paintings are much thicker than this. This is gonna be a very thin job. We're gonna take the same ultramarine blue and the dioxide violet, or dioxide purple, I'm sorry. Mix those together, the same original color that we have, but without mixing in any white. A little white, I lied. Let's mix a tiny bit of white, and this is gonna go in the corners here to make it just a little bit darker. Normally I don't paint like this. I always sketch stuff out beforehand, and I didn't at all today, So now I'm going to take my violet again, my purple, and a little bit of this pink. I should really look at the name of this pink. Quinacridone. It's magenta. Let's see. Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Beautiful. I love this magenta, and I don't normally, well, recently I haven't been working with pinks, but woo, okay. Ooh. If you don't have a pink or a magenta, you can use alizarin crimson or a darker red. Not as bright as this, not like a red orange like cadmium, but a very deeper red. And I'm actually gonna mix a little bit of that in there with this color, just a tiny bit. And a tiny bit of white. Do you guys know I like white? No? Haven't noticed? Ooh. Look at that pink. Look at how exquisite it is. We don't want this. We want blend. So I have mine blended out. It's at the level I want. It doesn't have to be perfect because when we put clouds and things in and we extend the color more, you can continue blending. Like, you're fine, relax. This is very easy mode. You can't mess up sunset, you really can't. So I'm gonna take the same blue that we use in the upper corners here, and I'm gonna drag it down a little bit more, give it more dimension right through here. Just a bit. See, I barely have any paint on the brush. Just putting it in here, dabbing it. All right, dabbing it a little bit. You can bring it in farther, you can put more here. It's just how you want your sky to look. Whatever makes you happy. You don't even have to use these colors. If you want something more orange, go for it. I believe in you. I really do. We're gonna grab a little bit of the alizarin crimson, this color here, just a little bit, and I'm gonna take some yellow ochre and mix those up. Let's get this kind of a coral. I'm gonna take a little bit of cadmium red, just to that little more red. Do I like that? Yeah, I think I like that. A little bit of the magenta. So pinken it up. And some white. Don't mix too many colors together because it can and will get muddy very, very quickly. And we're gonna use the magenta, a little bit of crimson, and this time we're gonna use cadmium yellow, so it's very bright yellow. Yeah, with some white. A very, like a dusty rose, kind of. So you should have colors that look a little similar, these two right here. We're gonna take the dusty pink rosy color. We're gonna put it right in here. Yeah. We're gonna just bring this down. Because I really like this color. I really like this mix. I need a squirrel to put in my pocket, like Bob Ross. There are these long parts, so you can just talk about our squirrel. I have a rabbit. She's in her cage though. I'm not gonna put her on my lap while I do this. Okay, now we're gonna take that sunsetty orange right here. We're gonna add some more depth in as well. We're gonna break it down a little more. Put it up here, put it wherever you want. Just mix it out. Ooh, look how nice that looks. Nice, I like that a lot. you want, you can bring both this orange darker color and even the darker blues throughout, because this is going to be some of the foundation for when we do clouds. We're gonna take some, I think, yellow ochre and more of this magenta, and take more of the yellow ochre. We're making like an orange like this, but more yellow. So it's not gonna be super bright. Yeah, like this, kind of like a dark orange, like the fruit orange, not just the color. Dark mustard. I don't know. I went to school for 4 years, I can't even describe a color. Basically, something along this line. As well as, we're gonna take some yellow ochre and some yellow cad and just mix those together. And we're just gonna have like a nice yellow. Maybe take some of that, put it to the side, and add in some white. These are the colors of our sky that we're gonna be working with. We're gonna take the first color we mix, that orange, and bring it in on the sides. We're gonna have a horizon line right about here. So if you want, you can even paint right across like I'm about to do. We're gonna just make a horizon line so I don't mess up. We're gonna just put in this dark orange all through here with a little more of that color we mixed before, this like dark coral. Blend those, blend it up a little and inwards. Basically what you're doing is having everything in the center be brighter than the outer edges for the most part. Not all of it, but for the most part. I'm also gonna bring some of this color up here. So I want more dimension, depth. This is the same up here. I'm gonna bring out some of the blues. And I'm gonna take the yellow and also bring that in. And lastly, the light creamy yellow that we made. Bring that in throughout here. Maybe even bring it up a little bit. Just a little bit. And now we're gonna blend all that together. If your colors aren't looking like mine right now, like let's say you have different paint colors or different hues that you're using, it's literally fine, because one, doesn't have to look exactly like this, and two, a lot of what you're doing ends up being mixed directly on the canvas, so these colors are gonna change. Like this is the purple that I had made, and this is way lighter. If you think you've made a mistake, in the words of our God, Bob Ross, it's no mistakes, it's only happy accidents. If you want to switch brushes, it's up to you, but really this teaches you that you can do a whole lot with just one brush and how you manipulate it. Like when I want to blend big sections, I'll hold it like this. But for example, when I put these colors on, I was holding it straight and just making lines. So you really don't need all these brushes. I probably have like 50 brushes. If I use 10 on a painting, that's a lot. If I use a brush at all, because I mostly do palette knife paintings. All right, so this is how mine is looking once it's all blended. I'm pretty happy with that. I'm still gonna go in up here, but I'm gonna add the clouds in. I'm gonna take some of my white that is not a different color, and I'm just gonna do some clouds. You don't need a lot of white on your brush. If you put a lot of white, it's gonna come out way too white. You don't need to do that. And you're gonna see, it's gonna make more sense when I start painting it. So just put your clouds wherever you want. I'm using this rounded tip brush because the roundness gives it like an edge already. like, and there's only paint just on the tip of the brush. So it's kind of making a rounded edge while I apply it at the same time, which helps a lot. So you see why I didn't put a lot of paint on the brush, because this is, well, for me, because I'm working in oils, since it is all wet, it's literally blending as I'm putting paint down. If you're using acrylic and it's dry, then maybe mix it with the same colors that you already used, just like the tiniest bit, so that it's not like pure bright white, because then that's gonna stand out too much against the very subtle pastel background. You don't want bright white. You never use a color straight out of the tube. Maybe I'm gonna put some just straight up lines. Don't ask me what kind of clouds those are called, because I genuinely can't remember for the life of me. You could give me all the money in the world, I can't tell you what kind of clouds those are. Like, I know the different types of clouds, I just can't remember which one these are. Also, again, use the same brush, because you see I was blending all this blue, and now the blue is on the brush and it's transferring to these right here. It gives it a really nice effect. See that? Beautiful. You're gonna be tapping it ever so slightly, ever so slightly. When you do this, it's actually blending with the color underneath, and it's, again, not giving you this pure white. It's picking up color as you're laying it down, giving it like the translucent look that you want in a cloud. Also, not all your clouds have to be white. I don't know. Make them very dark, which is what I'm going to do with some of this right here, by using the same colors I mixed to make the sky. It's going to be like a violet cloud, basically. So it's like, it's in shadow almost, if that makes sense. Got like the basic shape that I want for my clouds, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take more of my white, and all of these like top ridges of the clouds, so all of these little impressions up here, I'm gonna make them white and bright. And then once I do that, all of the impressions that are facing downwards, I'm gonna make those dark. Just to give it more dimension. It helps the more liquidy your colors are with this, because you get to thin it out a lot easier and quicker. If you're using like a thick white acrylic, or even some thick white oils, you're not gonna get this translucency that you want. It's gonna be thick white paint. You see I kind of like dabbed it on in these little circles, and do the same with the purple. Putting these little crescents on all the spots. Mixing it with the oranges I already put down, and some making their own appearances. So basically all the colors you use to paint the sky, we're also gonna bring them into the clouds. Okay, wipe all the paint off the brush, and now we're gonna blend them in together. I'm blending by just lightly dabbing my brush into the colors that I just added. Ever so softly. So what it's doing, I'm picking up color, I'm wiping off my brush a little bit. When I do the dabbing motions, it's picking up the color as I'm tapping down. And so it's not as bright as when I first placed it. You're just tapping on all the colors, making them less vibrant. Okay, and if there's some spots that you're like, this ain't it, like I see some right now on my own, just grab some more white and put it on top and do the same thing. Just keep doing it over and over again until you like what the end result is. So like right here where I muddied it a little bit, I'm just gonna put in some more white and forget that ever existed. That's why I like working with oils rather than acrylic, because oil is, honestly, I think it's so superior. Like, I'm very biased. I do not like working with acrylic anymore, and I'm someone that used to only work in acrylic, so I can say this. But I just think oil paints are great. They're so thin, so easy to mix. You get a level of opacity you just don't get with acrylic, because acrylic is synthetic. It's literally like plastic. I'm actually gonna make a video about oil paints and the history of oil paints, so if you guys want to see that, maybe like this video and I'll post it next. But yeah, if I was working in acrylic doing this right now, I probably would have lost a lot of the detail I put into this. And some of you might realize that too, like, yo, why she told me to do that? Because now it'll look right. And that's why I said use a retarder of some sort, because it highly thins out your paint better than if you're just using water. Okay, so I'm satisfied with how my clouds are looking, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the darker colors I mixed up again, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of shading under, right along here. Then this is the perfect opportunity if you wanted more dark aspects to the top of your painting, like I was saying earlier. It's a perfect opportunity to do it while you're mixing it, while you're adding in more shading. I'm just gonna put the tiniest bit of color, as always. You do not need to fill your brushes with paint. Paint goes a long way, a very long way, if you use it correctly. Drag it down. It doesn't have this like harsh line. Drag it down and then smooth it out. I'm also gonna switch my brush a little bit. Let's fix this up. Alright, so I'm also taking a dry brush right now and just blending it out even more, some of the color I added in. If you feel like you might have smudged or lost a little more, just go right back in the same color. Go right back in with that white and just brighten it. Or go back in with the dark tones and just add more depth. So if you want, you can stop here. Or what I'm gonna do, I'm actually going to bring in some dark clouds. So it's gonna be the same just here. I'm gonna not use practically any white. I'm gonna go in with my dark colors again, same for the sky, and just add in some dark clouds. They're almost gonna be like mist. So what I'm doing with these, I'm basically going to be blending them directly into the background. So you can barely see them, but you know they're there. And that's what matters. You know it's there. Gonna put the color in. And we're gonna tap, 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 tap. I'm gonna take my larger brush. I'm kind of just gonna tap into it. Have a rag of some sort so you can take off that excess paint, because it's gonna be picking up most of the color that we just put down. like I said, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I just really want some more darkness, like dark clouds. Oh, didn't mean to do that, but happy accident. I'm just gonna put like the tiniest white bits. So that's why I touched these clouds. So you see, I got the littlest bit of white off the edge of here, and I'm just gonna tap this in as well. So it has just the tiniest bit of highlight, so that they still exist, but not really. Just gonna blend those out. Anything you don't like, blend it out. When in doubt, blend it out. When in doubt, blend it out. Liking this. I'm gonna put one more dark cloud here, and I think we're gonna be done. Also, what I'm gonna do off camera real quick, I'm going to make right here a little bit darker. So if you're happy with yours, just leave it, maybe add in some more clouds. But if you're also wanting some more darkness, I'm going to just mix some dioxide purple and some ultramarine blue together to get a very rich, dark navy blue. Now what we're gonna do, we are going to take a little bit of black and some burnt umber, mix it together. We just want a really dark color. Alright, we're just gonna mix this together, as you can see right here. So we had made our horizon line a little while ago. I'm gonna take my palette knife. You can use a brush, but I'm just using a palette knife because I'm gonna get a straight edge with it. And I'm just gonna go all the way across. Make sure it's much thinner right in the center and thicker towards the edge. That was not what I was looking for here. It was okay. We're gonna go over it. And now I'm gonna bring up the color here. We're just gonna paint it on. Okay, if yours got a little lighter in color, the same way mine did, you can go over it with some more just black. This is gonna mix. Pretend it never happened. Pretend it never mixed. So see, it's still a dark brown. It's mixing with what's underneath. We're gonna take that orange color that we were using in this area before, and we're gonna paint all this down here. All of it. All of it. Well, not all of it. Maybe like do this section right here. Your piece. And paint that color. I'm gonna take that dark coral that we use as well. I'm gonna bring it in here. I'm gonna go right up here. So you're kind of mimicking the same thing you did on the sky. So darker colors on the outside, lighter on the inside. So this darker color we're gonna make come out a lot more though than on the sky. And you're gonna see why in a minute. And just blend it together. Take some of your dark mustard yellow that we mixed earlier, put it in the center, as well as the creamy yellow. I'm gonna take this blue here, a dark navy blue of any sort. I'm gonna put it just a little bit in the corners here, just a little bit. And then we're gonna layer that with a little black. I'm gonna take that dark orange again. I had just mixed some more. It right at the bottom. So I filled in the rest of my color. We're gonna take that browny black again and just make some lines all throughout on the outer edges. Blend it out into the orange. Again, when you do the black lines, you do not need a lot of paint on your brush. You're just doing it very, very lightly so that it makes more of this. If you want, you can even just mix the same orange but add in more brown and raw sienna. It's like a burnt umber and raw sienna into it, and it won't be as harsh as the straight black and burnt umber. Pro tip, if you're not that great at painting straight lines, flip your canvas. Much easier to do a straight line going up and down rather than side to side. We're going to take cadmium yellow, some yellow ochre, just a little bit, and some titanium white, and we're gonna mix all those together until we get a color similar to this, just a little more vibrant, also brighter, like whiter than it. So take a little bit more white. All right, so it's very similar to that, but it's just more saturated because we use more of the cad yellow instead of the yellow ochre. Awesome. This is gonna be our sun. And you can put it down here if you want to bring the piece down, but I am going to put it right here, just in the center. And now I'm gonna take straight titanium white and just highlight it a little bit. We're gonna take more of that very, very dark brown black color that we mixed earlier, and we're gonna make some palm trees in this back area here. Just gonna be dragging up some. You can put as many or as little as you want, really up to you. So I added my palm trees in where I wanted them, and now we're gonna take a bit of that, if not, just mix some more, and add in some phthalo blue to it, and a little bit of yellow ochre. We're gonna make like a very, very dark, dark green. Okay, so here's what I mixed up. So we're gonna take this color, and we're going to bring it in just a little bit on the mountains, or landscape area in the back. So we're just gonna stipple it on. I'm using a rounded brush. I'm just stippling it right along the top. So what's this doing? It's blending the color in as well as giving texture. I'm gonna dip into just the littlest bit of yellow ochre, and I'm gonna do the same thing to that. We're gonna take the same color we used here, and we're gonna put it here. I'm gonna stipple it on. And we're gonna take the same green that we used earlier, and I'm gonna stipple it on. The same green we used up there, and stipple it on just the same. And then take out the yellow ochre again. Right here, we're gonna do one big palm tree. That'll be right in the foreground. Bring it all the way up. If that happens where it just mixes together, it's fine. Just go over it again. And I'm painting in a down motion so that it also is giving it highlight as it mixes with those other colors. We're keeping it very dark. They're essentially silhouettes we're making. This is all silhouettes. We're putting in just the lighter colors such as the green and the yellow for just the tiniest bit of what will be highlight if it wasn't a silhouette, if that makes sense. And now I'm gonna make leaves. And now I'm making like a striping motion, dragging down to make it look like the leaves a little more. If you have a striping brush, I think it would be much easier. Striping brush, something very thin, like this. If not, you can do what I did when I was starting the tree. And just use the side of your brush, like I was telling you before. Remember, you don't need all these brushes. Is it helpful? Sure. But is it needed? No. Just using very quick strokes, just making them look wispy. And you see how in some spots the paint was still wet? It actually is helping a lot with making highlight. But there's also some spots where it's too much. So what I'm gonna do when I finish painting all the darker parts, I'm just gonna go back over and then drag it out, drag it out. We're kind of gonna do a reflection in the water right here. So we're gonna take that same color, the same black, brown, and put just a tiny bit on both sides. And we're gonna take our flat brush and blend it out in the same shape. I'm noticing mine is a little bit too light, so I'm just gonna go in and put some more. You're just like quite literally matching exactly what you did here, just replicating it right there in a more muted tone. If you still have the orange color we were working with earlier, we're gonna take that now and bring it in right over here, just to help blend. Just gonna add in more of this orange, help blend what I just added in. Some of that creamy yellow, and we're gonna bring it in about right here. We're gonna have it all right in this area, and then blend it out. So I blended it and then it got more muted, so I'm gonna go right back over again. And pretty much the same spots that I was just in. It helps best when you're blending to use a brush that is dry. Okay, so it's very subtle yellow. Now I'm gonna take an even brighter yellow and go over that. With this yellow, I'm also bringing it farther out, just in some other areas. The same way we did earlier with the dark lines. For here, doing it with the yellow, just to highlight. And blend it out. See, what I like most about water, because there are waves and ripples, these lines do not have to be blended out in the same way like a sky would be. The highlights can just be interpreted as ripples in the water. See how that is? And now what you're noticing, kind of making the shine of the sun. Add in a couple more of these yellow ones. Focus more in the center here because the sun is shining basically directly downwards. Okay. And now we're gonna go in with white and focus it just like directly down. Okay, so I just did a bunch of lines. I'm gonna blend that out. Some I'm gonna take farther out, some I'm gonna keep shorter. Took more of the cadmium yellow. And this is where you can really go wild. The same way we were doing the sky and the clouds earlier, you do that with the water. Adding in lines that are acting as your ripples. Focus it in the center like this. Extending it wider the lower I go. And again with the white in the same motion. Very short at the top and longer on the bottom. Right now we have our sun, we have our water just about done. We're gonna add in a little more clouds. They're not gonna be as big unless you want them to be. They're gonna be more like these guys right here. And they're just gonna cast over the sun just a little bit. I'm gonna grab some white again and go pretty much right over the sun. Just a little bit. All right, and to finish off, I'm gonna put just a tiny bit of purple to the water. All right, guys, I think we're done. Yeah, I think we're done for our first little easy mode paint and sip tutorial. I could keep going, but you know, it's just beginner's lesson, just to dip your toes in kind of thing. Oh, I lied. We're not done. I want you to take your paintbrush with whatever color you want, and you're gonna sign your name. You're gonna sign it wherever you want in your piece, because today you made some beautiful art, and I hope you're proud of yourself, and it deserves your signature on it. Just look at your work. Look at your piece right now and be like, wow, I made that. This was once a white canvas, and I made that today. I'm proud of you. I really am. Here's our finish painting. I hope you all enjoyed. If you do follow along with this tutorial, please tag me in it. I would love to see some of your renditions of this painting. I don't know what I should do with this. Should I give it away? Should I do a giveaway? Oh my god. Hi, this is Editing Kayla. If you're coming from my social medias, welcome. This is the part of the video you need to listen to if you're already here. To enter the giveaway, first, subscribe to my channel. Second, like this video. And third, leave me a comment on why you want my painting. I'm gonna be picking one of you randomly to send. It's easy as that. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm gonna give you guys until Monday at 5 p.m. So Monday at 5 p.m., that's when it's going to be done. And one of you are gonna be our lucky winner. All right, back to the other me. If you want to see some more artworks on the fly, leave me a comment. We'll do more paint and sips together. I hope you're having a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and I hope to see you again soon.